There's a point in your career when the path forward is blocked. And it's not because you lack competence, but because you're caught in a crisis you didn't create. Today, we're going to break down how disciplined action in one of those moments can create an entirely new path. This really gets to the heart of the matter. Professional strength isn't built when things are easy. It's forged when you're navigating challenges you didn't choose. It all comes down to how you respond when things get difficult. And this is the core tension, isn't it? You can be competent, reliable, getting results, and then an external crisis just hits. Suddenly your career stalls. It's a difficult position to be in. So what do you actually do when the rules of the game change right under your feet? Okay, let's set the scene. The year is 2008. The global economy is in a tailspin. For a lot of people, this wasn't just a news story. It was a very real, very personal threat to their career. This is the high-stakes environment where our story starts. This slide lays out the reality of the situation pretty clearly. On one side, you had colleagues with international qualifications and strong English skills who were getting relocated to new roles. And on the other side, well, you had a competent professional who was missing those specific credentials and was basically just waiting for the separation letter. You can feel the weight of that statement. It's not about being dramatic. It's about the quiet, constant pressure of uncertainty. Living with that feeling, that knot in your stomach every single time the phone rang, that's the headspace where the pivotal decision was made. Now, this is where things take a turn. It wasn't some grand strategic plan that changed everything. It was something much smaller, something most people would have completely overlooked. It was a simple task, but it was executed with an unusual level of discipline. So the task itself was pretty mundane. Help file some documents. But the action was what mattered. She applied an accountant's precision to what was essentially busy work. And in doing so, she found critical errors that others had missed. By executing a small, unwatched task with excellence, she became visible. The result? Just 2 days later, she was offered a lifeline, a new role in Cincinnati. So surviving that initial crisis was one thing. But what comes next is a really important shift from just reacting to circumstances to actually shaping them. This is the point where you stop waiting and start manufacturing your own opportunities. Fast forward a year. The immediate crisis is over, but the goal of returning to Asia is still there. Then, a key piece of information comes to light. It's not a job posting, but it's just as important. A senior executive is relocating to Hong Kong. This is a moment of calculated risk. Notice she doesn't send an email or wait for an introduction. She doesn't just hope she gets noticed. She takes direct control of the situation, walks into the office of the person who holds the key, and makes her ambition known. And here's the lesson. The result wasn't immediate. That single act of introduction planted a seed, but it took a full year for it to turn into a job offer. It's a powerful example that visibility isn't an accident. It's something you have to intentionally design. All right, so what are the actual principles we can pull from this experience? Let's distill this down into a few key insights. The first one is this. Small responsibilities, when executed with excellence, compound over time into visibility. The discipline applied to that simple filing task is what created the opportunity. It shows that how you do even the minor things matters. Second, it's consistent discipline that actually creates opportunity. It wasn't a single moment of brilliance that saved a career here. It was the steady, rigorous application of a standard of excellence that turned a vulnerable moment into a new path. And finally, taking action is what provides a sense of control. When faced with deep uncertainty, the response wasn't to freeze. It was to focus on the one thing that could be controlled, the quality of the task at hand. That execution provided a sense of preparedness that pushed back against desperation. So where does this all fit in a larger career framework? This entire sequence is a perfect illustration of what we call strategic positioning. Strategic positioning is really that shift from being a passive participant in your career to being an active architect. It's the point where you stop waiting to be recognized and you start intentionally designing moves, whether small or large, to shape your own narrative. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. What is the overlooked, maybe even minor task on your plate right now that, if you executed it with true excellence, might just hold the key to your next major opportunity?